6:01 on your Wednesday. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for watching the news at daybreak. I'm Cyria Sandlin. We begin with some breaking news out of Beaufort County. Beaufort High School was temporarily placed on lockdown. A mass shooting last night leaves 8 people in the hospital and 1 person dead. What a difference a year makes. Think about where we were this time last year. We were in the height of the pandemic. They say this is their first project of the year where they're giving back to the community, and these events are just so popular. So today the goal is to serve about 800 families in need. What you see right now is the venue that will hold more than 9,000 seats. We caught up with the general manager. But there's also just so much to do at the festival. You can see this one behind me. That is perfect for kids of all ages. You know, this is the first full festival since 2018. The stadium can be at 75% capacity so far this season because of COVID protocols. Less than 48 hours before the Georgia Senate runoff, Vice President-elect Kamala Harris visited the Savannah area to campaign on behalf of Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. The doors opened just a few moments ago. You can see there is already a line behind me. So since this is new, I kind of wanted just to walk everyone through the process. Although the parade was canceled, we are still bringing these events to you virtually. And Mike, this is probably the most important event for the St. Patrick's Day Parade Committee. If you take a look at this line behind me, we actually just got word the end of this line is the end of the first shipment.
How does it feel being on this side of the campaign, last time running as vice president and now running for the White House?
It's very exciting.
The news starts right now with breaking news.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Cyria Sandlin. We begin with some breaking news out of Beaufort County. Beaufort High School was temporarily placed on lockdown this morning after school district officials say a weapon was found during a dispute in the parking lot. The Beaufort County School District Communications Director says the weapon has since been secured and law enforcement lifted the lockdown. Beaufort police say there was no threat to any students in this only happened in the parking lot. New at noon, a car chase in Liberty County leads to a deputy's vehicle being hit and ends in a wreck that sends the suspect to the hospital. It happened just before 1 a.m. near the Westgate Mobile Home Park on Airport Road in Hinesville. That is when a Liberty County deputy tried to pull over a man for not having taillights. The suspect, Christopher Ashdown, tried to drive away from the stop. Troopers say he initially went into the mobile home park, but at a dead end. Troopers say the suspect then turned the car around and tried to get past the deputy's car at the entrance, hitting the deputy's car before getting out of the park. Now, he made it to the intersection of Barry McGaffrey and Airport Road before a deputy was able to stop him with a pit maneuver. Troopers say he lost control of his car and flipped right there. He was flown to a Savannah hospital. No word on his condition. Well, if you live in Chatham County, you probably have heard or seen the rain coming down within the last 2 hours. The radar behind me doesn't look so good heading this way. Cutter Martin joining us now. Cutter, I got caught in the rain for my live shot earlier. I should have listened to you this morning. What can we expect the rest of the day? Thousands of jobs now coming to the Savannah community. This after Gulfstream made a major announcement last night. 2 new aircrafts will be delivered soon. You see them on your screen. The new business jets are the Gulfstream G400 and Gulfstream G800. During an event last night, the president of Gulfstream Aerospace introduced both of the new aircrafts. The Savannah Economic Development Authority says these aircraft additions will boost the Savannah economy for years to come. As manufacturing of the new aircraft and the flagship G700 continues to grow, Gulfstream expects job growth will continue as well. G800 deliveries are anticipated to begin in 2023, and the first G400 aircraft are set to start being delivered in 2025. Let's take a live look outside from our WTOC downtown Savannah Skycam. A 60-day pilot program in the city has now come to a close. Aluminum to-go cups were used in 13 restaurants in downtown Savannah in the to-go cup zone, and the results are now in. Councilman Nick Palumbo helped lead the effort of these cups, saying the pilot was a success with an overwhelmingly positive experience. Now the program will be officially launched later this month. The group says they will look for community feedback on a new design for the cup, and they're considering an annual cup with new designs each year to keep visitors and locals going to local restaurants to keep their collection of the cups growing. Now, the area near River Street, which extends just about to Forsyth Park, is known as the To-Go Cup Zone, and they hope that by reducing plastic cups and increasing reusable aluminum cups, it will be more environmentally friendly for the city. Well, now that the pilot program is officially over, one business has already purchased cups to keep it going, and several others are committed to moving forward with using the aluminum to-go cups. One man in the Lowcountry is lucky to be alive this afternoon after he was attacked by an alligator. It happened at about 11:30 yesterday morning in the Sun City Hilton Head neighborhood. A South Carolina DNR official says a man in his late 70s was doing yard work near the edge of a pond when a gator bit him. They say a nearby golfer came to the man's aid. The man is being treated at the hospital for injuries to his arms and legs. South Carolina DNR says it caught and euthanized both of the alligators known to live in that pond. Let's take a live look from our WTOC Fair and Farrah Tybee Island Skycam. 6 candidates now vying for 3 open council seats came together last night on the island to face nearly 100 questions in a public forum. Organizers of Forever Tybee and the League of Women Voters say residents are always eager to learn more about the candidates each election. The forum's moderator says she thinks the questions from tourism and quality of life to infrastructure and ethics offered good insight to where candidates stand on the issues. Well, if you missed the chance last night, but you still want to hear from the candidates, don't worry. Forever Tybee is hosting a meet and greet on October 31st from 2 to 5 p.m. It is free and open to the public. And the Hilton Head Town Council will hold a second reading this afternoon on some amendments to the town budget. This comes 2 weeks after the town announced plans on how it will spend federal COVID-19 relief money. Council will also vote on the town's hazard mitigation plan. That meeting, 3 p.m. today. You can watch online on the town's website or Facebook page. Well, since 2019, we have been investigating a massive flaming pile of trash in Jasper County that cost about $5 million in taxpayer money to remove. We now know the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control and the state of South Carolina are suing Able Contracting to get back the money they spent clearing out that field. DHEC worked for 6 months to remove all of that debris. The removal wrapped up in January of 2020. This cost you, the taxpayers, about $5 million, and the lawsuit says Able Contracting should pay up since the private business was responsible for the trash pile. Now, a statement from DHEC confirmed that in this civil suit, the parties were, quote, unable to reach an agreement in mediation and have agreed to a bench trial without a jury. So we did ask Senator Davis what the state would do with that money, and he said if the case is ruled in favor of DHEC, the estimated $5 million of recouped money would be sent into the DHEC Contingency Reserve Fund. Well, the Facebook whistleblower is testifying before Congress today about the dangers the social media platform poses to teens. We'll have the latest from the trial underway right now, next. We continue our coverage of Friday night's mass shooting in Savannah that left 2 people dead and 6 others injured. 5 days later, we still don't have many answers about what exactly happened. I sat down with Savannah Police Chief Roy Minter to find out more about that tragic night, crime in our city, and what he says they need from the community. There's a lot of speculation in the community and even from neighboring communities about this mass shooting, the motive, the cause, and a lot of people are pointing to gangs. Does Savannah have a gang problem right now?
Well, what I can tell you is kind of the same thing I said at the press conference this morning, is we are seeing gang involvement. I don't know if I'd categorize it as a problem, but if you look at the level of violence that we're seeing in this city, some of it may be gang involved. I think it's something that really deserves a higher level of attention in our community. Really, one of the important things is we need to look at what's causing the culture of gangs in our community. And once we determine that, what do we do about addressing that culture of gang in our community? But we need to look at everything. We need to look at, some of the root causes of some of the crime that we've been dealing with for quite some time here in Savannah. Poverty, blight, education, employment, mentoring, reentry program. These are some of the things that we're looking at, and we're talking about a holistic, community-based approach.
Savannah Police Chief Roy Minter believes Friday night's shooting stemmed from an incident that happened earlier in the week.
And I believe we probably do have individuals out there in that area who may have had some information that they could have provided to us on Tuesday. I believe that we would have been able to follow up on that information, and maybe we would have been able to prevent what happened on Friday night.
So why won't those people come forward?
First thing is fear of retaliation or retribution. I think that's big. I think the other thing is this culture of not providing information to the police, whether you want to call it not snitching or something like that.
Chief Minter says this sets a dangerous precedent.
If there's drug dealing going on out there, if people aren't letting us know, it's going to continue. If there's gang activity going on out there, if people aren't willing to bring that information forward, it's going to continue. If there are other criminal activities that are going on out there, if people aren't willing to bring that information forward and have that discussion with us, it's only going to continue.
And he has one simple plea for the entire community.
If you don't want to talk to us for any other reason, please provide us with information for the sake of that 18-month-old infant.
Less than 48 hours before the Georgia Senate runoff, Vice President-elect Kamala Harris visited the Savannah area to campaign on behalf of Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. We spoke with her one-on-one about why this election is so important and what to expect with the Biden-Harris administration. Why was it so important for you to come to Savannah this day?
When I look at the challenges that Georgia faces, when we're looking at 1 in 7 Georgian families who are struggling with hunger, 1 in 6 struggling to pay rent, 1 in 4 small businesses in the state going out of business. The people of this state deserve to have somebody in Washington, D.C., and in this case, blessed enough to have 2 who can go there and be a voice for the people.
Let's talk about the people struggling, because there are millions of Americans struggling right now.
Yeah.
$600 payments starting to go out, but for a lot of people, that's not enough to pay the rent this month,
right.
Keep food on the table. What is your administration going to do as we are still in this pandemic in the first 100 days to get some relief to everyone?
Right. Well, that's why Joe Biden and I have been very clear that there should have been a $2,000 relief check. And I will tell you that we need to have United States senators who represent all the states who actually are fighting for that and urging the Congress to put those votes on the floor for a vote. And so we're going to be working with Congress to do that. We are going to be working with Congress to make sure that we are building back up our small businesses and building back up our economy through our infrastructure. But we're also going to immediately deal with the first order of business, which is in order to grow back and build back in terms of economic health and well-being, we need to take care of the health and well-being of people as it relates to this public health crisis.
This was a contentious election, we know that. How are you going to work across the aisle, as you've done before in your 4 years experience, to bridge the gap and bring people together?
The politics of division and hate are not in the best interest of the strength of our nation. And so how do I think about it? I think about it in terms of working across party lines. I think about it knowing that all of those children who have been missing school for months and months because of a failure to address this pandemic, those children could care less about who their parents voted for in the last election. When I look at the small businesses that have gone out of business, so many of whom are the lifeblood of their community, the economic lifeblood of their community, the cultural fabric of their community, who are struggling to keep their doors open, I know they could care less about the politics of it all. As Joe famously would say, he ran as a Democrat, he will be a president for all Americans.
Don't forget, polls open 7 a.m. Tuesday morning, and we'll bring you election coverage throughout the entire day. In Garden City, Syria Sandlin, WTOC News. We've raised already more than $6,000, and many of you at home are probably wondering, where does all this money go? Well, I spoke with the United Way of the Coastal Empire's executive director about the funding and a woman who is now forever grateful for their help. A little more than 6 weeks ago, the United Way of the Coastal Empire knew they had to act quickly.
In early March, we decided we knew we needed to respond quickly to the needs of people. People were already being laid off. Businesses were already being closed. We knew there were people who had medical needs or child care needs or some kind of an essential need, and we needed to be able to help to meet that demand.
And with that, the Rapid Response Fund was born to help people in our community with immediate and crucial needs.
The highest need by far that we are seeing through our 211 and our county service centers is rent and mortgage assistance. Trying to help people stay stable in their housing has been probably the largest demand on us and critical.
Tequila Chevalier is a volunteer with United Way through her employer, the Liberty County Sheriff's Office. She spent the past few weeks helping children in need.
We were giving out backpacks on the weekends, supplying basically the community and the kids that's in school with backpack lunches for the weekends so that they're still having food and getting nourished while this pandemic is going on.
Like millions of other Americans dealing with the financial hardships of this pandemic, she too needed some help. And of course, the United Way stepped right in.
It's a struggle right now. I have 4 children and, virtual learning is what we're doing right now. So we have to get laptops and get them connected and stay on top of that also and worry about our bills and everything at the same time. They was just telling us all about different resources they had together. It's just not for the community. Us workers that's also could, So I took advantage of it, and they also paid my rent for the month of May.
And she definitely doesn't take this for granted.
Thank you. Without them, I don't know, not even just for me, the whole community. You've really been a great, great help for us, and I don't know what we would do without you because it's a real struggle right now for the community.
And just to put in perspective how big that struggle is, 1 in 3 Americans were unable to pay their rent last month. So you can only imagine the United Way of the Coastal Empire has been getting thousands of calls to help people keep a roof over their heads and help people keep food on their table. And that is exactly why we are here, to raise money for that Rapid Response Fund. Ken.